Good afternoon, 8th graders. So this is our video on combining powers and then evaluating them. So far we've done these separately. So we've combined powers, but then just left them as a power after combining them. And then we've evaluated powers before. And yesterday we talked about evaluating negative exponents. So today we kind of pull all those ideas together. So our first step. If there are any operations inside of a parentheses, you do those operations first. So I want you guys to look down at number 3. See how number 3 has addition and subtraction inside those parentheses. You're going to do that first, just like we're doing the order of operations. And then you're going to look at what results. Sometimes you don't have to do that. So like in number 1, there is no parentheses, so we just start at step 2. So at step 2, we're going to put together powers that have the same base. So here we have 2 powers that have the same base. Now again, whenever you put them together, you keep that base. So we're going to keep 8. And then we're going to have one of 2 options. We're actually going to use the second one for problem 1. And that's, we're going to use the subtraction sign if they're being divided. So this means division, the subtraction. The fraction on number 1 means to divide. So if there's division, you use subtraction sign. One way to remember that is the division symbol results in subtraction, and you notice how they're like kind of similar looking, right? The division symbol looks kind of like a subtraction sign. So sometimes it's not numbers like these, it's a little more, there's a negative signs. But even in this one, it's probably helpful to write it out. So 7 subtraction sign 9. 7's positive, 9's negative, different signs, so we find the difference. And then we have to think, is this a positive or negative? Our bigger number was negative, so it's negative. Okay, now we keep going, so we don't stop. Number 3, now evaluate the power that you have after you combine it. So yesterday we talked about how the negative exponent means you divide, and we write that as division using fractions. So 1/8 times 1/8, and that gets us a total of 1/64. Okay, number 2, start off the same way. We're going to write the base. Remember to include the negative. Now, don't worry about dealing with this negative sign for your base until after you put together the exponents. So this is going to do our first rule on number 2. If there's an addition sign, use an addition sign if there's multiplication going on. So here our powers are being multiplied. So we separate them by an addition sign. That doesn't always mean we add, though. Like in this situation, -2, +4, even though I put that addition sign there, because they're different signs, I have to subtract. So the 2 is the answer for that. It's positive because our bigger number was positive. Then we evaluate. Now this means -5 times -5. We don't do the fraction thing because it's the exponent that tells us to do a fraction. If that's negative. If the base is negative, that doesn't mean fraction. That just means your whatever it is you're multiplying or dividing is negative. So here we're multiplying -5 twice. That gets us 25, and then because it's 2 negative signs, our answer is positive. Okay. So now number 3 is where we have to do step 1 first. So parentheses, we need to evaluate what's inside of the parentheses first. So 3 plus 1 is 4. And bring down the exponent. Bring down the multiplication sign. 6 minus 2 is 4. Bring down the exponent. The negative sign on the 3 is extremely important. Don't forget that. Okay. Now here we go to step 2. So because it's a multiplication between 2 powers with the same base, we separate their exponents by a addition sign. Okay, positive, negative. Keep that same base. we find the difference because they're different signs, and the answer is positive because our bigger number was positive. So for the first exponent, first power, gets us 4. It's pretty simple. All right. I want you guys to try to do number 4 on your own. Be really careful with the sign of the answer inside of that parentheses. Think about that. And remember that the base being negative doesn't tell you that you're supposed to use fractions. It's the exponent being negative that tells you to use a fraction. All right. So number 4 is on your own, and I'll see you guys later.